The African Burial Ground was New York City's colonial-era African cemetery. Somewhere between 10 to 20,000 of the first African New Yorkers were buried here in the colonial period, between the 1640s and the 1790s. At that point, the African Burial Ground was covered over in landfill and somewhat forgotten. Not completely forgotten, but its memory had left the public consciousness until 20 years ago. 20 years ago, the federal government began construction of the office building that now occupies 290 Broadway, the Ted Weiss Federal Building. And as they excavated for the office building, they found the remains of 419 individuals. We were the second most enslaved city in colonial America, but despite enslavement, there were free Africans present from the very beginning. In fact, the first settler of our city was a man of mixed African and European heritage by the name of Jan Rodriguez. And we explore the story of the people who settled here, what their lives were like, and how at the African Burial Ground people retained their African culture. One thing I think that's important when we think about the African Burial Ground story is how this has allowed people to rediscover history. The rediscovery of the African Burial Ground spurred a focus on what life was like for enslaved people in the North. For us, 20 years later, we picked this time to commemorate that rediscovery. And so we're hosting a whole series of events this week. I encourage you to follow us on Twitter. We are at AFBurialGRND-NPS. It's an unwieldy name, but we are the most followed National Park Service site in Twitter. And for these events, we are promoting hashtag Honor the Ancestors for anything related to the 20th anniversary.